Welcome back, wonderful women, to the weekly video on the Nourish by Claudia channel. Today, I'm going to address a very common concern. Why hasn't my period returned even though I've gained weight? And I keep receiving these questions every single week amongst all the women that have been working with me or that are also part of my private Facebook group. And by the way, before I go ahead, and I forgot to share this with you, just make sure that you join the Facebook group Recover from Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Support if you really want to be part of a like-minded community of supportive women. And if you are at a point that you really would benefit some help from professional help, from someone that is well-versed in hypothalamic amenorrhea, eating disorder, and fertility, just make sure that you book a free call with me or with someone on my team so that we can really assess if you are the right person to be part of the period comeback protocol, or if you are the right person to work with me, so that we can smash your goals and we make sure that you can get what you want before the end of the year. But without further ado, let's really go back to this common concern. I have done all that I can. Why my period is not back yet? So first, it's important to start with a concept that is key here: patience. So hormones can take time to rebalance after a period of disruption. And even if you have gained weight, your body might still be adjusting. It can take a while for your menstrual cycle to normalize. So let me repeat this again. Hormones can take time to rebalance after a period of disruption. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that if you haven't had a period for 20 years, it's going to take you another 20 years to get it back. But it may mean that your body is very sensitive to hormonal changes, fluctuations, and disruptions. So instead of you taking it only 6 weeks for your periods to come back, it may take you 3 months or 6 months of following proven steps and really work with your body instead of working with something that is applicable to another woman that is part of a group or that you have been chatting to. So always go back to doing the work that suits your body, not someone else's, and make sure that you follow the steps each and every day. And if you're doing so, and if you haven't left any stones unturned, if you have done all the blood work and you know that you're dealing with hypothalamic amenorrhea, I really underline the concept that patient is key. Next thing that I would like to mention is also number obsession. Sometimes we get so focused on the number on the scale that we forget about the quality of what we are eating. So nutritional imbalance can be a significant factor of why your period hasn't come back yet. So even if your weight is adequate, you might still be lacking in certain nutrients that are essential for hormonal balance. Moreover, when it comes to number obsession and weight, also remember that it's not only about the weight on the scale, but it's also about body composition. So beyond weight, the ratio of muscles to fat in your body can influence your menstrual cycle. And we do need adequate body fat for the production of hormones. And last but not least, let's not forget the metabolic rate changes. So your body's metabolic rate can change with weight loss and weight gain, and it may take time for your body to adapt to these changes and for your reproductive system to function normally again. Also, when it comes to body obsession, to number obsession, I can see lots of women tracking their numbers, logging in whatever they eat in their favorite app or stepping on the scale each and every day. But the reality is that the scales, they are reliable only to a certain extent. And if you're also lifting weight or if you're still exercising, you also may need to take into consideration that the number can shift because of fluid retention, hormonal fluctuation, and also increase in muscle mass. So do not rely on the scale, only on the scale, because it could be very inaccurate and it can also set yourself up. You can set yourself up for failure, because if you step on the scale and if you see a higher number than you are expecting, that may make you feel pretty miserable. And secondly, also, whenever you log in your calories on your favorite app, if that's something that you're still doing, just make sure that your intake is distributed throughout the day. So I see more often than not women saving their calories towards the end of the day. but that's basically feeding the conception that your body has that there is some threat, that we need to wait and we need to be in the dark just to make sure the food is welcome and the food is coming. And that's really disrupting that rest and digest mode, that parasympathetic mode that we need to be in order to get the period back. So this is just a reminder that it's important to take a step away from counting numbers and really getting focused on numbers, but just look at our body from a more holistic perspective. And one last thing that I would like to mention about numbers: if you're still relying on BMI, please, I invite you to take a step away from it, because BMI is not a measurement of wellness, is not a measurement of well-being, is not even a measurement of weight. It doesn't take into consideration how much you slept the night before, how stressed you are, that your body fat ratio. It doesn't take into consideration if you have been hitting the gym, if you have been walking, if you have been increasing your muscle mass. It's just a formula that it was not meant to really evaluate a woman's weight and a woman's health wellness to start with. So if you're still working with a BMI, I really encourage you to take a step away from it, because that's definitely not helping you. Step number three thing that I really would like you to take into consideration is your exercise intensity. So you may know that high intensity or excessive exercise can put stress on your body, and it's essential to make sure that your exercise routine is not too strenuous and it's really supportive of recovery. And you may be thinking, yeah, of course, I'm not running any marathon at the moment. I'm just lifting weight only a couple of times a week. But then if we break it down and I find out that you go to the gym only twice a week, you lift weight only twice a week, but you do it for 90 minutes and you allow yourself to have only 60 seconds rest between sets, and that you're doing multiple repetitions of the same movement, chances are that you are overtraining, especially if as soon as you leave the gym, you start walking wherever you go. Because walking, even though it's not considered by many as a form of exercise, it really impacts your chances of getting the period back. So it's really important for you to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, is actually exercise or the way that I move my body disrupting my ability to restore my hormones in a timely manner? Something else that I really need to underline are underlying issues. So residual stress, whether psychological, physiological, can significantly impact your hypothalamus. So the disruption can affect the hormonal signals, which is necessary for menstruation. So even if the weight is restored, ongoing stress can delay the return of your period, as mental health plays a significant role. Anxiety, depression, unresolved psychological issues can impact the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, and that can really impact menstruation. You may have heard of women being in a war zone and not having a period until they were relocated to a different area. You may have heard of women losing their periods when going through a divorce, or when losing their job, or when losing someone that they loved. Stress can impact your hormonal balance more than you think. And if your stress has become chronic stress, meaning that it's something that it's so common in your life that you're not really perceiving it, it does not mean that your body has adjusted to it. It simply means that there is an extra layer that your body needs to work through to be able to switch on the hypothalamus once again. And so psychological stress is definitely part of it, but another thing is are underlying issues from a physiological standpoint. So for example, let's say that you have worked through your through your recovery, and all of a sudden you have unpacked other things that were already happening or already brewing underneath, such as underlying thyroid issues, other hormonal imbalances such as PCOS, high prolactin, high level of DHEAS. There may be something else like an autoimmune condition that you were not aware of it before. So all these things can really come up while going through the recovery process, and it may delay the onset of the first period of your recurrent frequent periods. So work with your body, don't compare yourself, and really find yourself someone that can help you to take the next step, to get to the next level, so that you unpack whatever is going on with you, and that you know exactly which coping strategies you can welcome so that you can stick to your recovery journey. Lastly, there is also something else that I would like to mention, which is medications. So certain medications, including, not excluding the hormonal contraceptive pills, can impact your menstrual cycles. So if you have recently stopped or started any medications, this could influence the return of your period. Some medications used for depressive disorders that can impact the cycle, and definitely, as just mentioned, the pills, some HRT, or other heavy medications that I have not mentioned in here, just for autoimmune conditions, or also to treat some cancer, or they are preventative for cancer or other autoimmune situations. So just in summary, there are a few things that I really would like you to consider if you have gained the weight, if you think that you are weight restored and you still haven't seen your period yet. The number one is patience. It may take a little bit longer than you were expecting for you to get your period back. The second thing is number obsession. So take a step away from checking your BMI, take a step away from checking your scale numbers, and also think that body composition, metabolic rate changes, that needs to be taken into account. And when it comes to number obsession, we also need to be very honest with ourselves and think, is the food that I'm eating enough? Because having 2,500 calories all in one go towards the end of the day, it may be precluding your chances of restoring your period. Or having 2,500 calories per day while still training and being stressed can still may not be enough for your period to come back. Another thing that I mentioned is exercise intensity. So making sure that you find movement to work with your body, not against it. Make sure that you really uncover any underlying issues from a physiological and a psychological standpoint. And last but not least, also make sure that the medications that you are taking or that you are thinking of taking are not going to prevent your cycle from coming back or from your cycle to become regular. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that I have unpacked a few things that may have prevented you from getting your period back, or may have prevented you from getting the second and third period back in a timely manner. And if you're looking for some extra level of support, just make sure that you join the Facebook group Recover from Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Support. It's free. There are plenty of questions and answers on a daily basis. And if instead you're looking for a customized approach and someone to keep you accountable and making sure that you're doing all the right steps, book a free call with me or someone from my team, and we're going to assess if you are the right person to join the period comeback protocol or to work one-on-one with me. And if we think that we are not the right fit, no harm, no foul, we are still gonna make sure that you have all the right resources so that you can move on in your recovery journey with ease. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.